How's everybody doing? My name's Mike, and we got Miss Uma with us today. So, we're working on her sit. So, I got her about around 4 or 5 days ago, and she's a full German Shepherd, and we know she is a working dog. We know her genetics. The person who bred her was breeding her for a purpose. So she's also a little older than the typical dog I train. Is normally between 8 weeks and 2 years old. That is the normal time that I usually get a dog. So she is 4 years old. So when you have a dog that is a few years older, the things like sit and laying down, it's going to be slightly more difficult to teach because the dog has simply had more time to imprint the other behaviors that they've been doing. For example, she knows somewhat how to sit. Actually, pretty not too bad for the owner. Okay, what we consider a real sit is the dog sitting and holding that. Like if I say sit to her pretty loud, she would do it from the day I took her. Basically, she would sit, but then her butt would come right back up. So for me to break that habit of her butt coming right back up, or her not always sitting when I ask, that's the other thing. Sometimes you say sit and she wouldn't. So we got to make sure she does it every time. That's what we consider a real sit. And all that stuff's okay. This is just the obstacle that you're going to face if you have a dog that's 4 years old and you're trying to now re-imprint other behaviors and get rid of these unwanted behaviors. It's going to take a little extra time and a little extra work, so don't get discouraged if you have an older dog, or a dog that's older, than 2. So we're going to work on her sit. So I have a couple of tools out here. I have a shake can. So I can use this as a punishment for her. So if I tell her, if I say sit and she doesn't do it, good girl. So she did it, so good girl, and I give her a little affection. So if I ask her to sit and she doesn't, I can actually shake this. So see, she broke it. No, sit. So I gave her a punishment for breaking that sit, and that's why my no will have, hey, sit. I can also remind her to stay in that sit. We're never going to say stay to the dog. We always just reinforce what we want, because if I say stay, what I meant to the dog is I was trying to say stay sitting, right? So we just say sit to keep it very easy for the dog to understand. So it's very good. You guys hear all the noise happening. We got buses passing us and stuff. It's very good. Good girl. Good sit, because she stayed sitting during the bus pass, and that's all hard for them to do that kind of thing. Good girl. So this is my punishment for her. So if I put this down, she might get up, and then we intermittently kind of pick this up, and that's kind of a different story. But to get her to start sitting, I can use something like this very easy. Now, we work the dog. So at Roots Canine Training, we do it old school. We walk the dogs in a circle, and we work her. So I'm going to use this wall, and I'm going to have her sit in succession a bunch of times, and that's what's going to get her to imprint that sit, and that's what's going to get her used to sit. That's what's going to get her used to sitting when I ask her to, is doing it with her a bunch of times and teaching her what I want through the leash, not with treats, because the leash she will respect. The leash is organic. Treats is more of a bribery situation. You're not going to get a true connection with your dog. We really want to communicate with the dog what we want. We don't want them to be excited for a bribe. We want her to understand what we want. And we are giving her a reward. That is our praise. That's what you see happens when I pet her. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the other tool I've been using with her, because I've been working with her for about 4 days. Using the shake can, I use the leash, or I use this heel. I use this cane over here. So, heel. This is called, this is what I use in place of a heel stick. So I can put it in front of her like that, and I correct her if she tries to touch this or anything. Now this is just like a heel stick for a horse. A horse trainer, if the horse moves too far forward and the horse trainer wants the horse to move back, they'll just tap the shins. See how she moved her foot back. I didn't even really touch her. She just moved back because she is a shepherd. So a shepherd, you can hold an obstacle in front of and they will naturally avoid it. That's what they are built to do because they're used to working with humans and a human guiding them on how to shepherd sheep, you know. So she's meant to respond to this type of communication. So I'm going to start working her. I'm going to start off with the heel stick so you can see what we use it for. We never ever strike the animal with this stick. That's why you can see I can move it around her and she's not scared at all of it because I've never struck her with this. Okay, so anytime somebody sees a stick in my hand, it seems like they ask the question, are you going to hit the dog? That's why I'm saying that you would never ever do that. She is actually somewhat of a fearful dog. So if you strike a fearful dog, you will lose all trust. Now this dog, if I had her from 8 weeks, I can make this dog a very confident dog. You probably wouldn't see a touch of fear. And that's what we're going to try and do is reduce the fear in her. And we can definitely minimize it. But again, good girl, because she's sitting. That's why I said that, good girl. So she sees that, I like that. So I'm going to start working her, and like I said, you see me moving this around, and she's not backing up or anything like that, not trying to get away and not getting wigged out by this. This is how we bring them to a stable state of mind. We start doing all these things around them and getting them used to this kind of stuff and getting them to relax. Before, she was very hyped up, she's a very hyper dog, so we want to bring that excitement level down. So I'm going to go ahead and start working her. Okay, girl, heel. So I'm going to use this wall to pinch her up against it. So that way she's going to sit straight for me. If she tries to sniff the ground, I correct her. Heel. Sit. I hold this in front so she doesn't get in front of me. Then I take it away. Good girl. Good sit. If she sits the first time I ask, I reward her. If she sit. Nope. Sit. If she doesn't, then we say no, correction, direction. So the correction would be something like the leash, tugging on the leash, or the shake hand. Heel. Sit. See how she's healing good? Good girl. Heel. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Just like that. Heel. Now I'm going to use the leash. I just wanted you guys to see the tools I've been using to get her to this point. Sit. I don't want you to think, good girl, that I just grabbed the leash and this stuff just happens. You know, I used those tools the first few days to get her to heel nicely to me and to using the shake hand, getting her to sit. So you see what she did? No, correction, sit. So no, correction, direction. Just like that. And you never tell the dog good anything after they break a command. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to let her look past my leg like that anymore. She looks out my leg back this way at whatever's happening over there, and she doesn't pay attention. So we're going to stop that. And she's not doing these things automatically. Obviously, I'm controlling her with the leash and my body. See, she tried to just look. I stopped her. Heel. Sit. Good girl. And so I'm saying sit a little bit louder than I would with most dogs. Because, hey, so I'm correcting her for looking past my leg. So I'm saying sit a little bit louder than I would with most dogs because that's getting her to sit. We will reduce that later and we'll say it much quieter. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Heel. I'm going to move a little bit faster so I can keep her attention. And this is called attrition. Heel. Sit. Atta girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Good sit. Heel. Sit. Good girl. See how she swung her butt out when I had her sit? That's why I got her against the wall. Heel. So outside, she just needs to practice the sit. Inside, we can have her sit and move around her. Sit. Because inside's a little bit easier. Good girl. Good sit. Heel. Sit. So the idea is I stop her. Good girl. Good sit. So if I stop her from looking at the barking dogs or the people that she's paying attention to, because she's looking this way, if I stop her from that look, now I can start to get the dog's attention on me. And the dog will pay attention to me instead of the distractions because I correct her for paying attention to any of the distractions. Heel. Sit. Atta girl. Good girl. Heel. The reason she's sitting for me is because I've been working with her. You got to put the time in. Nope. Heel. So you saw what she did. When I turned, she's kind of moseying that way. So watch what happened. Heel. So I correct her for not coming with me. So heel. Then we'll go ahead and go this way. Atta girl, good girl, good girl. So this, I reward her for coming with me. I teach her, hey, don't pay attention. Heel. Atta girl, good girl. Good job. Sit. So I reward her. I teach her. You know, you look that way, and let me show you what I want you to do. Heel. Let's go over that again. Heel. Heel. Atta girl. Sit. See, that's a dog that's paying attention to you. It's a dog that turns with you, okay? So this is what creates a trained dog, is cleaning up all these little things. We got to teach the dog what we want. We got to teach, hey, we don't want you paying attention to those distractions. That's going to create a dog that is never going to listen to you, you know, if they're not paying attention to you. Heel. Sit. And this is how the outside becomes not so good girl, good sit. That's how the outside becomes not so exciting for her, is getting out here and working her and having her sit and having her listen to us and putting rules on her, not allowing her to pay attention to things. What I say to all my clients, if the dog's doing it after we've taught the humans, if the dog's doing it, then you're allowing her to do it. Our job is to manage the dog and not let them do things like not follow us and look over to the left when I'm going the other way. But I have to communicate it in a way that the dogs trust, understand, and respect. And what they trust, understand, and respect is a leash. You know, we use humane punishment to communicate with the dog what we want, and then we use positive reinforcement, you know, my praise, to communicate, to encourage her to keep doing the things that I do want. Those things together are going to help us create a clearer picture for her. And I also tell my clients, everything you're seeing right now, when you see I get compliance with her, what makes up that compliance is two things. Is the timing, first of all, is timing of my correction and timing of my praise. Those two timing, that timing issue, it has to be correct. You have to be on time with your correction and on time with your praise to get compliance. And then the other thing that you want to do to get the dog to comply is you have to have an effective correction. So timing and effectiveness of the correction, okay? Timing of the correction, timing of the praise, and effectiveness of the correction or effectiveness of the praise. Those two things have to work for the dog. And those two things will get you compliance, but you must understand the way the dog works. And unfortunately, using a treat is not going to get you a dog that really behaves. This dog had a real issue with other people, and it is simply because she had a slight lack of leadership in the home and just no structure and no direction. You know, as you can see with direction, she will listen, but she has a long road of rehab for her, because again, 4 years is a long time, and it's just going to take a lot of work for her to get those behaviors out of her. But she's a good dog, and those are the things you need to create compliance with your dog.